Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Valdrin. We'll be getting started here pretty shortly. So just give us a couple more minutes for letting everyone to join, and then we'll get started. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming to our CoreALM webinar. In today's session, we'll be talking about how you can manage and deliver S/4HANA projects using SAP Solution Manager Focus Build, and then how Jira and Azure integration with Focus Build and our CoreALM Scrum board will help you deliver this project. In this session, my name is Valdrin Spahie. I will be co-presenting with Fistic, who is one of my colleagues. And so in today's agenda, we'll be going through explaining who CoreALM is. Then we'll jump into SAP Solution Manager Focus Build overview from a general perspective. Then we'll jump into how do you manage and deliver Agile projects with SAP Focus Build, Jira, and Azure integration to Scrum board. Last but not least, we'll follow up with a demo. And then at the end, we'll take some questions and we'll answer them to our best of our knowledge. In the meantime, so everyone is on mute. So if you do have any questions during the webinar, please post them in the chat part of the GoToMeeting. And then at the end, we'll read those questions out and we'll answer them. So CoreALM, we're a dedicated team of experts that we focus on digital transformation lifecycle management. We have a strong digital core foundation leveraging SAP HANA, SAP Solution Manager, and Application Lifecycle Manager and Management and DevOps. We were founded in 2009. We could say we have over 50 years of experience between our consultants and our team. We also were trusted by many SAP clients. We've worked with over probably a couple hundred accounts where most of the companies are 500 Fortune companies. And then we're known for very quick implementations around Agile and ALM processes. So anything that has to do with SAP Solution Manager and tools that can help you deliver projects quickly and faster. Some of the sample customers, as you can tell, you primarily probably know most of these. And then from an offerings perspective, so not that we just offer services around SAP Focus Build and Solution Manager and then Jira and those integrations, but we also have services around process and project management. So from SAP Solution Manager project management perspective, and then also the Agile and Scrum board coaching delivery. In addition to that, we also can help you with business process management. So if you're looking to standardize your processes and then list them out in a hierarchical view in Solution Manager and from a business and model them from a business process modeling, we can help you with that and also help you monitor any type of exceptions systematically with using business process monitoring. In addition to that, we have test management. So from a test planning, test strategy, test execution, and also analytics. And we also offer services around performance testing and automation as well. Then IT assignment change control management. So we have, if you want to put in place a change control management or charm from SAP Solution Manager to manage your transport and then approvals of changes that go to production. In addition to that, if you're looking to have an ITSM tool in Solution Manager where you can manage incidents and also different types of approvals, that's something that we can offer services. And then we have DevOps and run SAP like a factory. So anything around operations from a monitoring and also Llama and TDMS, so from a refresh, and then also taking some subsided data using TDMS or data management. If you're looking to extend your application from a design perspective in SAP, from a design UX and UI or web or mobile, we can help you with that as well from a development perspective. And then also we have Focus Build and Focus Run, where we offer coaching services around Focus Build if you're taking the journey in any large project, and we can deploy the application. We can also help you, coach you through the processes, put guidelines together based on our experience, and to help you go through and train and coach you through the project. In addition to that, if you're looking on the Focus Insights from monitoring perspective, or Focus Run for monitoring all the environments, we can help you with that, and also in AML. Some of the award partnerships and recognitions that we've been awarded over the years, and keep in mind we're an SAP certified partner around SAP implementation. One of our products that is integrated with SAP Focus Build or Solution Manager is our CoreALM Scrum board, where you can use the Scrum board to primarily run Scrum meetings and report in perspective. In addition to that, we're not just taking data and placing and displaying on the Scrum board. You can also move these cards around, and then again, these are integrated with Focus Build, and these are work items, but they have tons of other features, like we bring in project tasks from SAP Focus Build. We also have a Jira and Azure integration as well. That's something that we'll show you in the demo. You'll have different types of reports from very high level, as you can see in this one, leadership high level types of reports. And then you can have all the way down to burn up and burn down charts based on your sprints and waves, where you can actually see exactly where you are with all of your tasks. We also offer capacity management. So if you're looking to see how much capacity each one of your team members has based on the project and based on the sprint, you can see what's the time that they're allocated to and how much time they have available. In addition to that, we also provide a ServiceNow connector that integrates with SAP Solution Manager. So an example would be that if you are monitoring all of your environments within SAP Solution Manager, any alert that gets created, it's automatically going to forward that to ServiceNow as an incident, but we have a bi-directional communication where as soon as you close that incident, it's also going to close the alert within SAP Solution Manager. In addition to that, we also, our ServiceNow connector offers a integration between charm or change management and the request for change in ServiceNow. So if you're looking to, if you have a request in ServiceNow, we can integrate and create a charm transaction directly within SAP Solution Manager and map different workflows. And it can be a bi-directional communication where we can change workflows depending on what status you want to map within between these two different tools. So your request will set the ServiceNow, and the change transaction, the changes that you're making will be in SAP Solution Manager. So the purpose of this session is that we're going to talk about primarily an SAP Solution Manager with Focus Build and what it is. If you're unfamiliar, so it's a delivery platform that really it's integrated for all of the aspects of application lifecycle management, and it fits very well with the Activate methodology and Agile as well to deliver primarily SAP S/4HANA projects. The Focus Build tool has these 5 capabilities that's integrated, that are all integrated together. So you have project management, process management, requirements management, change and release, and then test manager. Keep in mind that SAP built this as an add-on on top of SAP Solution Manager, and you deploy it, and it's pretty much after you deploy it and then do a very, very small configuration, or I would say it takes pretty quickly to stand up the solution, you're up and running and you can utilize it for any project. So it's not heavy in configuration. And it supports the full Activate and Agile methodology, so from prepare, explore, realize, and deploy, so all 4 phases. To kind of give you an idea of some of the paces that support Focus Build and also in general SAP Solution Manager. So Focus build primarily focuses on the innovation side, where we have the requirements to deploy phase. So this is primarily for transformation projects or new solutions. So these projects are usually very large in scope, and the process impact is very significant. Ideally, is that these will be deployed in releases. Let it be if you go on live in phases, but it will be bundled into a major release. Versus when you're in the enhanced side, where meaning that this could be your medium scope or your very small project. They are also bundled into a release, but could be maybe quarterly releases where you're improving your business processes and you're deploying. This is something that you can use the requirements to deploy. You can also use focus build, or you can use a stand-up SAP Solution Manager, which it would be utilizing requirements management and charm without having to use focus build. Ideally, is that once you go live with focus build, at this point you start utilizing charms for the enhanced side to enhance your business processes. In addition to that, you have the fixed phase. This is where you have a disruption within a business process, and it's a very small change. Ideally, these fall in most cases into an urgent and emergency change. We detect a problem. An example would be that an incident gets raised, and we have an issue within our production environment, and then we quickly fix that maybe within the same day. We push it to production. So this would be more of we have a defect or an incident that gets resolved immediately. Now, from a requirement to deploy within Focus Build, as I explained later, these are all of the capabilities that are utilized, which is process, test suite, project, and change management. Keep in mind, Solution Manager does have all of these other capabilities like business process operations, application operations, that do different types of items. So it's pretty much an entire, 10 capabilities that fulfill the entire ALM portfolio to be successful in an organization, let it be if you're operational or if you're just using it to deliver a project. And today, primarily what we're going to focus on, based on those 5 capabilities that Focus Build uses, we have requirements, we have work packages or scope changes, which at the end is just a different work package. Then we have work items, and everything is tied to a major release. So this is what you will hear in most of our presentation here that we're going to talk about. So to talk a little bit about how you would jumpstart a project that's using SAP Focus Build, SAP has a ton of best practices and accelerators that you can utilize out of the box. So an example would be if you haven't started the project yet, you would download the SAP best practices from SAP, which are free if you are an SAP customer. And in that case, you would go and you would scope the processes that you would like to utilize, or something that fits your organization. At that point, you would build an initial roadmap of at least from a timeline perspective, what your approach is going to be for those processes to not from a delivery perspective, but at least an idea from a roadmap as to where you want to be in the future. Once you have a pretty good idea of what processes you have in scope, at this point, you can start thinking about pre-building let's say a prototype environment, or maybe downloading a pre-activated environment from SAP, like an S/4HANA environment, and then you would build that environment. At this point, as soon as you build the environment, this is where you can start your fit gap analysis workshop or your solution validation. So at this point, since you have a prototype environment set up, you have the process that you have scoped in here, you can start validating those processes within the system. So it doesn't mean that we're just going through some PowerPoints or Excel. So in this case, you have an environment or a prototype stood up within your landscape or somewhere in the cloud, and then you're validating for any type of gap. Primarily to find any gaps or maybe even capture additional requirements that you have within your organization. At this point, once you capture all of your requirements, this is where you will take a look at all of the highest level or highest value requirements, and you will prioritize that backlog. And then you will jump into your second workshop where you start your design sessions. This is after you start approving your requirements, and you will start creating your work packages and designing them based on the scope or the need of the company. Once those those work packages are built and designed, at this point we can scope the work items, which at this point, really what we're doing is we're actually creating tasks that we are going to assign to users, primarily your configurators, your developers, and or anyone that's going to do any work within the environment. We're assigning them the tasks, and we have a pretty good idea now of how many sprints we are going to have and how long our sprints should be. At this point, as soon as you're ready to release a sprint, you would release a sprint and you would start from a sprint execution. This is where we're in that realize phase, and you would start actually building the solution within time box sprint. So your goal is to have very small sprints, 2 to 3 weeks, so that way you can get a continuous feedback back to the business or the requirement, whoever would the requirement, so that way we don't go too far within the sprint and then realize that, oh, we need to completely change the solution. And this is where your really focused build maps very well with all of these phases and follows that activate and agile methodology. In addition to that, you also, once you're done with your sprint, this is where you have your integration testing, your regression testing, whatever the case might be, or if you have different types of classifications of testing, or if you have any type of value audit, and then this is where you would go live, or you would prepare for some type of hypercare, for some type of cutover, and then you would jump into your hypercare and so on from the deployment. And then last but not least, this is optional from a run perspective. After you go live, we have to keep that application running. This is where you can utilize all of the application operations from SAP Solution Manager, where you can monitor your system from day-to-day basis. Now, from a jump starting within your explore phase, especially when you're starting to create your requirements and you've built that prototype, this is where you would primarily you can use the process management area of SAP Solution Manager and Focus Build that provides a ton of best practices with these process flows, process diagrams, and it has a lot more documentation such as test cases, such as functional specs and different types of items that you can take and modify and add your own flavor in case you change things. But the idea is here that all of these processes are actually integrated directly with your requirements management. So if you do change a process, you add the process or modify anything here, you can automatically create a requirement directly within that process. So everything starts really deriving from the specific process in here. As you can tell within the requirements here, if you do find any type of changes that you're going to go through from a design perspective, as in a process, you create a requirement directly within that flow, or if you decide not to have flows, you can do it from a hierarchical perspective. It does not necessarily have to be a business process flow. Ideally is that when you go through your fit gap analysis workshop, you can identify a gap or a fit. Regardless if it's a gap or a fit, you're going to capture requirements for that, and then you're going to prioritize that requirement from a rough estimation perspective. If you do have your SI within the that's helping you, the idea is they are the S4 experts. They should give you a pretty good effort estimation of how long it would take for a gap or a fit to be either configured or for that gap to design and build it and complete it. At this point, from a requirements perspective, once all of those are approved, we are going to create those work packages, which is at the end of the day, it's your design that you are going to design for your system, and it's going to contain different types of items or deliverables, let's say, like functional gaps, configuration documentation, functional specifications, and so on. Now, at this point, this is where you're going to create your work items. So a work package could have multiple work items. The idea is here that, especially if you have dependent tasks, you can assign them to different sprints, different resources, so you don't overload one developer or one configurator, and you can move as quickly as possible. And now, as you can tell from a release, everything here is going to be assigned to a release. And then again, your work packages are assigned to the waves, and then all of your work items are assigned to different types of sprints. This maps very well the Jira, an example would be, where you have your epics, and then which are really mapped to work packages, and then you have your user stories that are mapped to your work items. Now, the entire workflow, when you're going through these, capturing these requirements, you identify a gap or a fit in here, you capture a requirement, you enter a description. Keep in mind, a process could have many requirements. It could be many-to-many relationship. You don't necessarily have to have one per one. Then after you capture requirements, you can have a work package, and then this work package is going to be assigned to a project now and a wave as well. And then again in here, you get some of the deliverables that are required for a work package in order for that design to be successful. It is a functional specification if it's something like a functional aspect. And then if it's a interface, you're going to have some type of interface specifications, or if you need additional documentation, these are just examples that were given. And then you're going to have also a test case as well. So this is functional in nature, maybe like a single functional test case in order for us to test this entire work package. Now, this work package is going to derive work items, and they are going to be assigned to a sprint, which this wave here could have, 2-3 sprints, an example would be, and then you're going to assign these work items depending on the dependency. We understand that in focus build, or when you're building an SAP application, you are going to have dependencies from the beginning, which means that we have to outline these work items in different sprints in order not to overlap or not to be behind. Now, all of this work that you're doing within SAP Focus Build, it's all going to be tracked within this solution readiness dashboard. So it kind of gives you an idea of where the project is, what is the next quality gate due, how many work packages you have, how many work items, your requirements backlog, how many are in progress or completed, your schedule percentage based on your plan. Then you also have a current wave progress. So based on what wave you're actually in, it's going to tell you where you are with the progress. You have risks, issues, and if you do have any type of scope changes, let's say after you do testing and the scope changes because that's not what we wanted in the environment, it's also going to show you how many changes you extended to build. In addition to that, which is very nice, it also gives you KPIs around functional documentation, like functional specs, how many you have and what status, and also technical design, and then development and unit testing as well. This is all great, but us as what we saw, pretty much a gap is, and what most of our clients really desire is that they want to view all of these work items that we just explained in the previous slides in a Kanban board where you can actually view them based on your sprint. An example would be, and then you can take a look at, for example, how many John Smith, how many work items he's working on, and exactly where he is. So this can help you tremendously if you're doing Scrum meetings, for example, your 10-minute Scrum meetings. You can see all of your work items that your team is working on. In addition to that, we also have what we call tasks in here. So each one of these work items could have an additional task, an example like a blocker or a decision or an action item that we're waiting on that we cannot complete it. You also get very nice reports all in one place, like a burn-up chart, how you're doing on your requirements, a wave chart, exactly where you are in each one of the weeks for your wave, and then you get your decision, your blocks, your issues, your action items, and your risk based on the wave that you have selected here on top. In addition to that, the Scrum board is also integrated with Jira, where all of our requirements and our work packages are mapped to epics, and then you have your work items which are mapped to user stories within Jira. So we have a couple of different use cases that we have integrated together. You could have a use case where the epic or the user stories are created automatically after you create a requirement. So the work package and the work item are created automatically from SAP Solution Manager after you map those projects, after you map a Solution Manager project and a Jira project. At this point, it creates an epic, and then it creates a user story directly in here. And all of the statuses are updated back to SAP. So as you're working within your user stories, it's also updating the work item and the work package based on the epic, on the status, so that way everything is actually in one place versus having to report on Jira and having to report in Focus Build for the same project. So the goal is here to bring everything in one place. So from a reporting perspective, if it's, if your S4HANA includes, 30% non-SAP and you decide to use Jira, it's going to be all within the Scrum board. As you can see, this would be the board view for the Jira items, where you can actually create within directly if you wanted to. Obviously, this is an option where you can create epics and the user stories directly from our backlog items directly from our Scrum board. And as you can tell, we identify, so if you have user stories, an example would be that are not mapped to Focus Build work items, they're not going to have an SAP icon on here. If you do have any user stories that are mapped to the work items, I'll have an icon in here, and it tells you that these two items are mapped together. So as soon as the status changes, it's going to change in both places. In addition to that, we also have, depending if you're using Jira or Azure DevOps, we also have a very similar, or probably the same integration with the Azure DevOps, where the workflow is pretty much the same. If you are creating requirements and work packages in Focus Build, you can trigger automatically to create feature and backlog items within Azure DevOps. And the status again are updated as you're bidirectionally as you're updating these statuses. Case number 2 would be that you create a backlog item. A feature, an example would be, and a backlog item within Azure DevOps. This will automatically trigger to create a requirement within Focus Build, and will also create a work package, tie it back to the feature. Also will create a work item and tie it back to the backlog item. Again, the status is also updated in both places as you're working through this. Now, if you needed to create additional items and you don't want to jump into the Azure DevOps, so let's say you're an SAP user and you need something from a team member that's currently only working in Azure DevOps, you could go within our Scrum board and create a new item directly within there, and it will create it in Azure DevOps and it will be represented within the Scrum board. Also, this is where you can create another, well, in this case, you can create it here a bug or a feature. In this case, you can create a new item or a backlog item within our Scrum board. So that's what I wanted to present. I'm not going to bore you with many more slides. What we're going to do next is we're going to pass the session to Fisnik, who's going to do a demo for you on everything that is explained within our presentation. And Fisnik will be right with us. Okay. Go ahead, Fisnik.
I was on mute. Hi, everyone. I'm going to start showing what Waldron showed in presentation. I'm going to show you on system, and I'm going to go step by step to show from the beginning. As we open Solution Manager 7.2, we will have this Fiori Launchpad, where we'll see all is arranged by role-based application. So we would see as a roles that I'm signing in, I will have as an architect, I will have see my tiles as a developer, as a tester, or as a test manager, see what role are assigned to me. And if I go as an architect, the main point that everything starts from is process management. So once we go to solution documentation tile, solution documentation will open, and our business hierarchy, it's how our business runs and where we want to go with a new implementation. For example, as for HANA, or we have ongoing projects we want to implement, or changes we want to introduce to our system, we have to build the hierarchy first. And once we build the hierarchy, we well define how our business runs. This is a mirror of how actually we're doing business, and we assign the documentation, necessary testing, and so on. So we have the 360-degree view of how our business is built and running. And to start here on the business process hierarchy and business process modeling, the first would be the business process are built by libraries. So we have all these libraries pieces that we put together when we build a business process. So we would have all the executables, all the development, configuration, everything in a specific library. And when we start using we will go and reuse everything into our when we build our business process. And business process we can build on end-to-end perspective and modular perspective. The point of having this separation is that we can have we talk about testing, we talk about modeling, and so on, and we can use the modulars as a components of the end-to-end when we build the entire scenarios. So let's go to, let's pick one of them. I'm going to pick procurement to pay here. So once we pick this one, we will have all the processes. This is a scenario, this is a process level, and we can drill down to another step. It's going to be a process step. So on the process level, we can assign the diagrams. I'm going to open one diagram just to show you real quick. So once this diagram will show how this process is built for requisitioning, and will give us all the details. Is the same as seeing the hierarchical view. We're just viewing as a mirror of hierarchical view, which is viewing from the diagram perspective. So this is how we do requisitioning today. These are the roles, and these are the process step. Which one process step I selected in here, we'll go and do the filtering. Here will show me what do I have assigned to it. And if I have a requirements or work package and so on directly assigned to any of these, it will give me on the right panel here. So, and I will close this one, and I will show you now how to actually create a requirement, work package, and work item. So once I have my hierarchy set up, I can go in now and define a work package. So if we pick this process, create purchase requisition, copy this name, create purchase requisition, and see it already has one requirement. We'll go and create another one. We just clicked on here on the requirement, and it will open the requirement management tile. We also can go to requirements management tile by going in here. There's a tile called requirement management to create direct requirements and then assigning back to here. But now I went the right way from here, and I go into here, into the requirement management module, and I click create new requirement. And now I'm creating new requirement. So I will enter the title, create purchase requisition. As we define this this requirements during, if we are planning to implement this for HANA, we will go if we implement this for HANA, we'll go through activate methodology through the workshop A and B, and we will define the requirements and the priority and everything else. And here we are entering those on the system. So we will enter the value point, the effort, classification. I can be fit, gap, and also different one. And I can enter short description here and save this requirement. I can also assign it to business expert. I'm the owner. So now this requirement is saved. And is this one in the draft? So I can go and open this requirement now. And now as me as a business expert, I'm looking at the requirement. I can add more description, make any changes, and I will send it for approval. Now I send this requirement for approval. For me now as a business owner, as I own this requirement, I will review it, and if I want to, I have this option. If I want to reject it, revise it, or I'll approve it. But I'm using all the roles at once. But you have separate roles through users that will be using the tool. Once I approve the requirement, the status of the requirement will go to approved, and it's gone. Now I'll go back to the requirement page and see the requirement is approved. Now I can go and select this requirement. I can go and create the work package, and I'll select the priority. These fields come automatically pre-filled. I can make changes if I want. I have to select I can select a category, or I can assign it to myself here, and select the project which this requirement belongs to that I want to add it to. I will append the supply chain, and select a wave, select wave 1, and create. Now I'm creating the work package. So work package is if you think a Jira perspective, a work package would be similar to an epic. But in SAP it's a work package. So I created a work package. Now I'm going to open the work package itself. And once I've opened the work package, I'll be introduced to this window where I have a lot of more information to relate to the work package. Also, you see the test management here, which is linked to the test suite module. So if I have this work package, I can create a test package for this work package. So I can add this work package to a test package when I do the testing. And what I can do now, I have to scope this work package. I will go and define the scope, change the status to define the scope, and I go to the scope the work package. I'm adding one to the scope here. So I'm creating a work item right now. So I have the option to create a normal or general change. So it's a normal or general work item. And I'm going to enter the name of the work item, what wave and sprint belongs to. So I'm going to deliver this work item on wave 1, sprint 1. Classification, I'm going to say I can add here who's going to be the development team, the testing, the developer itself. I can assign the documentation and save it. I also have, see the red one. I have to assign the documentation that's related to this work package. All documentation, the structure is coming from the business process hierarchy. So if I click here, it will send me back to the solution documentation. And I will go here also assign it to the work item itself. And you'll see here, show up. And here, yes, I have to assign this here. And now I can go in and approve the scope. So I'm approving all the work item from this work package. I can go in after I approve the scope. I can go and hand over to development. I can also define the scope more if I want to. So I'm handing over to development this work item. And I also will open a work item just to show how it looks like inside. Yeah, right now it's handing over the work item to development. So if I go inside the work item, so I'll get all the details about this work item. So this is similar to user story back in Jira. I have a project which is related to, and I can go in and I can start development on this work item that's right now in the created, and so the status of the work item would also reflect the work package. As this is how we do the work package, the work item, and requirement in Solution Manager. I will go now in and show you how we do it if we want to create a requirement or a work package and a work item to be synced back to Jira. We just go into here on the requirement page, and we will have to select the tools that we want. So for example, this webinar demo requirement, I would have to go here to create a work package. Just a second. I left it a long time open. Let's close the session. All that are assigned to me and search. So this is part of our Scrum board. In our Scrum board, I will have all the requirements are created by me. I can go and select this one, for example, and I will go and also here create. I will have the option to create it in Focus Build, create it in Jira, and create it in Azure DevOps. If I select it, create on Jira, a window will pop up and will ask me who's the owner. I'll let myself here, a priority, and also myself in here, and a project. I will select the project that I'm planning to do it, and wave also reminder selected because we are in that active wave, and create. And once I click create, it goes back to Jira and creates automatically creates an epic, creates a user story, goes back to Solution Manager, creates a work package, and creates the related work item that's particular to that work package. So I just selected the requirement, went and created the work package. I can open this work package. I will go also in Jira, open this one so you guys can see the relationship. So it went it went from Solution Manager, went to Jira. So this was the one that was created. It went through again. So it went from Solution Manager to Jira, created the epic with related work user story, which is a work item back to Solution Manager. This is the work package ID that points back to Solution Manager. And as I start working on this, see the scope, we will have the related one that's on the created status. And once I start working onto the Jira itself, onto delivering now this user story, and going from the status to do into this moving to status in progress, we will see that it will go back to Solution Manager and reflect the status of the work that I'm doing into the Jira. So why this is important? This is important as for me as a PMO. I want to see the status of the entire project. Depending if it's SAP or non-SAP or the cross tool that the project is being delivered, I want to see the status in one place. I want to have a single place that I will see the burned on charts, all the reporting, how my project is doing. I want to see how my resources are doing. And with this integration, tightly integrated to Solution Manager, Focus Build, I can truly deliver a project in an Agile way. So if I go in here, I move this one in progress. And if I refresh this one, it should change the status into development, as we see here. So it's changed the status into development. As I move to the done, it will change the status again. So as you can see, it's truly integrated. And as I continue finishing the work, it will reflect the Solution Manager. So I have all the statuses as you successfully tested, and I will have all the statuses back reflect to Solution Manager. What also it's a great what we as a CoreALM did is we built this Jira board within our Scrum board. So I can come here if I run the Scrum meeting, daily Scrum meeting as a Scrum Master or as a Scrum Master if we're talking a Scale Agile. I will come in here and I will open the Jira board and I will see all that are related to this particular project and wave and sprint. I will come and see, okay, how am I doing with delivering this? How am I doing? How many do I have open? How many do I have in progress? And I see here the sign SAP. So these are that have SAP are related directly linked to the SAP itself. So I can go in and also from here directly from SAP within Solution Manager, I can create a user story, I can create a task, I can create all of these directly from here without actually going to Jira itself. So I'm doing directly from the Solution Manager. It's tightly integrated with Jira. So I can also go to the backlog and see my backlog and move things to my sprint from my actual backlog. And this is the integration with in short point integration Jira with Solution Manager Focus Build. And now we also have integration similar to the one that I showed you here for Jira. We have the integration for Azure DevOps. So to complete the cycle, I will go into here again, select this requirement I created earlier, and I will go in and create one for Azure DevOps. So I will select the priority, I'll select the project, and create. So this will go back to Azure DevOps, and we'll go create a feature and create a backlog item. Depends how your Azure DevOps is. It's mapped also how your Jira. And if you're talking back to the Jira side, and you can do all these. You can also do custom mapping, because we understand that not all Azure DevOps and all Azure Jira are configured the same, but you can also do the mapping to fit your organizational needs. So if I go to scroll up, this one is the one that just got created, and this is the work package that got created for it. So let me open first the work package, and this will open the work package with same focus build, and let me open the one in Jira now in Azure DevOps. Okay, and if I open the one in focus build, it created a work package, it created a work item, and into the Jira we can see the features that I just created. And if I go to the boards, it's called create purchase order requisition. I go to boards in Azure DevOps, and now in boards I will see the board view. I can go and see it based on the feature or the backlog item. So in our case, the feature is it's a work item, it's a work package, and the backlog item are work items. So if I scroll down, it should be somewhere here in the end. So this one is the one that just got created. So I come to here, I see it's on the created status. I will go to the here into the Azure DevOps, and I will move it to approved. I'll see it into the approved here, and I go back to Azure DevOps and I refresh the page. Any minute, it should change the status to reflect the status of the work that we are doing in our team is doing into Azure DevOps, and see it moves back to in development. And as I continue the work from approved, I move it to committed, and I go back to Solution Manager. I just check it, what happened to it, and we will see that the status always follows the status that's going into the Azure DevOps. And as I continue working with Azure DevOps, see it to be tested, this I will have always the real-time update of my status of my work and how my team is delivering the project. I can also, as I showed you for Jira, we also have the board for Azure DevOps. Here's a board for Azure DevOps, so I can see the view that I was seeing in Azure based on the backlog item or based on the features. I can see directly in our Scrum board. And here, the ones that are with SAP are the work that's SAP. And we understand that not all the work that's delivered in this particular project can be SAP. There are some work that's not SAP, but we are still have the view to view it in the CoreALM board that's delivered, that we can deliver with part of Focus Build. That's how we have all integrated here together. But if I go, we have something called task here in our board, which is very important to the particular teams, and as how I'm assigning tasks. And if I go to click on the task, you will see this task. I can have these tasks linked to both Azure DevOps and Jira. So if I have a task to do this work in Jira, I will have it linked to Jira. If I have it for Azure DevOps, it would be linked to Azure DevOps. And if I have a work item or work package assigned to this one, it will also be linked to this task. So I can also track these tasks based on the progress and get all the details of these tasks in all the reporting that the board has. Also, also important from traceability. If I go to the work items into the Scrum board, I can go to the backlog and I can see some of the traceability that give us a lot of details and what's going on into the particular. I can see all the requirements. I can see the work package. I can see also the test cases. I can go deeper see who tested, and so it will give us a lot of details. And some of the also important, if I go to the reports, what we deliver with our add-ons, as I said, the connector for Jira, for Azure DevOps, so there are some lot of important and important charge for project delivery and project management. If you're thinking to do agile methodology or scale agile in large implementation, you would need to have all these charts come as part of Solution Manager project. So you can have progress, burn up, burn down, wait report, a lot of like detailed traceability metrics if you want to track where so what work item what's assigned to it, and you can also have like cumulative burn up and all different reports as we build this one as while we deliver projects. And I think we have time now to opening for questioning. If someone has any question, if you guys had any question until now, please feel free to write on the chat so we can answer it. And
yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, perfect. Yeah, we do have a few. So the first one, actually, a great presentation. Thank you, guys. We are just starting our Solution Manager and Jira journey. Can we still use Solution Manager for waterfall delivery as we come up to speed on Jira?
I can take that question. And absolutely. I mean, so from an SAP Solution Manager perspective, you can define any type of methodology that for your project. In most cases, what we see with other clients, what we call a light agile delivery, where it's a mixture of a little bit of waterfall for some areas because of SAP's nature, and then most of other cases, we try to mandate agile as much as we can to increase productivity. But yes, you can use it for waterfall as well. We just have to understand more the reasons why.
Okay. Next question. What would be roughly the effort to get an integration between Azure and Solman focus build? Thanks a lot.
So our Scrum board, it comes out of the box with an integration to Jira, which means we've already have built all of the APIs that connect to Jira between these epics, user stories that map to requirements and to work items and work packages. So it's a matter of deploying our Scrum board, and then obviously network communication would have to be there between the two tools and a communication user, but very light on configuration and standing up the solution.
And if you have a follow-up question to that, let me know. Otherwise, I have another question here, and that's it thus far. So what about traceability? I heard that Solution Manager 7.2 and Focus Build provide complete capabilities between requirements and testing. Is that true?
Yes, we possibly didn't show that due to time in this session, but there is not just one report, but multiple reports that give you that traceability. Everything is tracked by what we call a transaction ID from requirement all the way to test case and deployment. However, there is one report in specific that's called Traceability Matrix that gives you a view of from the requirement to anything that's related to that requirement, which means it has work packages, work items, defects, test cases, test plans, different statuses, documentation, transport. So everything that's really, because again, we're relating everything back to that requirement, which means that if you want to see exactly what were the deliverables for that specific requirement, that traceability matrix is your best bet to look at each requirement and its related items.
Thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. You can send any further questions to info@corealm.com or visit us at corealm.com to find out more about our tools, products, and services.